Hey everybody, this is Jim Winkler. If you were with me on my last training, I caught a quick breath. I'm taking a quick drink of water and aloe, and now it's time to get started right. Man, that was fun. I just got done showing the plan. Who's excited to get started? Me, after seeing it. It's like every time I watch the plan, I want to get going again. And I'm going to tell you that's a secret, by the way. That's a secret. And here's why that's a secret. Because you want to learn to show the plan and show it on a regular basis. Because every time you show it, it should get you excited. It should get you ready to go. And by the way, I apologize for being late jumping on here. I ran a little long-winded on that. So if a couple of you were waiting for me and not on the other one, I do apologize. Thank you for waiting and glad to be on here with you. I'm Jim Winkler. I'm Vice President of Sales with the company. I'm a unfranchised owner for 25 years. My wife and I, Lisa, are what you call executive field vice presidents in the management performance compensation plan. And I'm here to share with you tonight how to take this and start somebody correctly. And I'm going to share with you some philosophies we have on doing this right and setting people up correctly. Many of you heard me in my last presentation. One of the things I really want you to be careful of is when you're talking to people, make sure you tell them that there's going to be effort and there's going to be work that goes into this. Don't be scared to tell people the right things, okay? Because that'll attract the right people. You don't want to be a person who makes it sound like you don't have to do anything, because that's fake. That's not true. It's not right. We want to tell people, yeah, can they do it in 8 to 15 hours a week? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Some people can do it in 5, but I'd rather tell them 8 to 15 because if they have to put that time in, they do. What does that come down to? It comes down to maybe 2 nights a week and some time on a weekend, or a lot of time on a weekend and 1 night a week, or whatever. They organize it out however they want to do it. That's great. I'm going to share my screen right now. As I share my screen, I'm going to go to something we call a getting started guide. Let's get out there. Everybody can hopefully see that right. This has been my secret weapon for a lot of years. What do I mean by that? It's something that I've really coached on and duplicated throughout the team. And whenever I've seen failure, when I've seen people who weren't doing as well, I think it came from they got away from doing the basics. I'm very much a basics kind of guy. People have said, Jim, I've known you 25 years and you're always teaching the same thing. And that may be a key for you to pick up. I'm always teaching the same thing because it works. You know what I mean? If you're a football coach and you can block and tackle better than everyone else because you teach it the best way, would you change that just because other people are doing other things? I wouldn't. It's the same thing with our business. Hey, everybody, thanks for jumping over. I see you coming over again. It's great to see you. So here's what I want you to do. I want to make sure that you've downloaded a copy of this, or you have a copy of this. You don't need it tonight, but I want to make sure you do that immediately and have this. Now, let's talk about when to use this. Okay, this getting started guide. I believe the first part of it is very good to use before you've even started somebody, to show them expectations and to show them what you're going to be putting into it with them. Okay, some people have said to me, but Jim, what if that scares them? Well, then there's 2 things you learn from that. One is maybe they're the right person for the business, but they're just going to be a retailer and a consumer. They're not going to be a business builder. Maybe they're the wrong person for the business because they thought it was something completely different because they saw it once and people see what they want to see. So a lot of times I like to share the beginning of this with them and go through with them. So let's look at what does that entail in the beginning. Well, and by the way, if you don't like doing it that way, then I would recommend you do it right at the registration. Here is my challenge with things. Sometimes people will register somebody in 10 minutes, 15 minutes online, 20 minutes, but then not go through any of the other work with them. If you don't do the other work with them, why did you bring them in the business? It doesn't make sense to me. Remember, the reason we bring people into the business is because they'll lead to other people or they'll lead to customers. That's the reason we bring people in the business. There's no use bringing in somebody who's not going to lead to customers or lead to other people because they're not going to reach their goals, and either are you. So you want to do it the right way. As we go through and we look at the first page, I know they get an email that gives them all this information. Yet, you know what I'm doing? I'm saying, you know what, your sponsor is going to be obviously me. I give them a little background. My wife is Lisa. If you haven't met her yet, we go through that. Then I give them a little background on the people that they're going to be working with. And I'll say, you know, Tom Schneider, great guy. Feel comfortable calling him at any time. I can be busy. I travel a lot. I'm doing a lot of different things. So if you can't reach me, feel free, comfortable reaching out to Tom. And sometimes might even pick up the phone and call that person so that they can introduce them to each other right there if they haven't met already. Best way to do that is you've had to meet a couple of their senior partners while doing this, okay? Then, you know, you can see the different numbers, you can see the groups, you go through that very quickly. This page does not take very long. Have it pre-filled out on the first page as you do this. Here's where the money is made. This is the part I'm talking about where you go through it with people and you say, okay, you know what I want you to do? Dakota, I want you to commit to the unfranchised business plan for a minimum of 12 months. And if I'm sitting with them, I'm going to have them check that off on the getting started guide. If I'm not sitting with them, if I happen to be doing it by Zoom, I'm going to have them have printed that getting started guide. And I'm going to say, can you check that off for me? And here's why, Dakota, because I don't want you to do something for a month or 2 months or 3 months. You can't even tell what you're doing at that point. Would you agree? And they always agree. And I said, but after a year, you'll know what you're doing. I tell my own story of when I was starting. I told the lady who was training me a lot, a lady named Marta Arkabar, who I'm grateful for to this day. And by the way, it was one intense day of training, not like years and years, but she really laid it out what I needed to do. And one of the things she said is give it a year. I said, I'll give it 1 year. I'll give it 1 year. I'll do everything you tell me to that's legal, ethical, and moral. I'll do it the right way. But if at the end of a year it's not working, I will quit 1 year from today. But I'll be able to look at it and know I did my best and I gave it my all and I followed directions and I was coachable. So I tell people, let's give it a year. No matter how part-time you're doing it, let's do that. Okay, great. Get that commitment. All right, let me ask you, Gabriella, can you commit 8 to 15 hours per week to complete things that we're going to be doing to build this business? Can you find that time? And if you can, where can we find it? Can you work a couple nights a week? Can you put some time in on the weekend? How much do you think you can devote? And I'm asking them this, you know, and if they say, okay, yeah, I'll find time, Jim, if this is going to work. And sometimes guys understand, people are going to say, well, I give you 5 hours a week. Now, if they'll give me 5 dedicated hours, here's what I know. If I can get them to lead me to people during those 5 hours, I'll get them to do more as they start to see the money coming in, as they start to see it's working. So I'm okay with that. I will also, though, be honest and say, if you can only give me 5, that's cool. But understand you're not going to move as fast as the people who give me 8 to 15. It just can't work that way, because the more you put into this, the more you get out of it. Purchase tickets to the next scheduled GMTSS event. I want to get people live. I want to get them in person. I want to get them meeting people. I want them developing relationships. So what is that going to be? And on here, you can see there's UBP. Is there a UBP in your area? Great. If there's not, what's the next thing that will be online? If there's nothing near you, what's the next home meeting that will be going on that's near you? So that unfranchised business presentation, and I'm jotting down the date in their book. Okay. When's the next new unfranchised owner training? And I look for that. Now, a lot of those you can get online. Some are still being done in person, which is, again, my preference will always be in person, guys. Nothing against the online, but I don't mince words on things. In person works better for stability and long term. Online is fantastic for giving people information, but relationships are part of what is the glue of the foundation of this business. So if it's online, which a lot of them are now, I'm going to schedule that in there. Same with the basic 5. People say to me, well, how fast do you want to get them into a new unfranchised owner training, or how fast do you want to get them into a basic 5? Immediately, as fast as I can. People are like, well, won't that overwhelm them? No, it won't, because I'm taking time ahead of time with them now. You know who gets overwhelmed? The person who goes to an NUOT, who the person who registered them did no work with them to start with. And then they go to an NUOT and they're like, I didn't know any of this. What's this auto ship stuff? Because you didn't even tell them you registered them for that while you were helping them with the sign up. so those are the things you have to take a look at. Executive coordinator training. I'm typing in the local seminar times. I'm typing in the district, the regional times. I'm saying, put this on your calendar. Do that for me, Keith. And why am I saying that to them? I'm saying that because in a business, there's things you have to do. Now, I'm going to tell you, I know we came through a last 2.5 years where people didn't get out as much as they used to. Well, it's time to get back out to the things you need to do. And I'm going to tell them, this is what we need to do to be successful. There's a regional, I want you to schedule that weekend. You're going to be there. Now, I also put it in perspective. What is perspective? Perspective is this. How many of you would give 5 Saturdays a year or 7 Saturdays a year if you knew this business would go on to pay you? I'll tell you what, I would have crawled through glass to get either one of those. So to give up 5 to 7 Saturdays, give me a break. But I need to know when, and I need to have it planned, right? And that's the key thing. So I'm planning this for them. I'm talking to them about World Conference or Leadership School. You bring somebody in right now, you're moving tickets to them to Leadership School. We just brought in my son and his girlfriend. Guess who's going to Leadership School? They're going to Leadership School. Not an option. If you're coming in, I don't care that you're Jim Winkler's son, and Lisa Winkler's son. You got to do it the right way, and you got to do things the right way, because it doesn't work no matter who you come in with if you don't set the right example and set the right expectations. So great, we've gone through that, perfect. And we've had some good discussions while we're doing this with the people. Well, why do I need to do that? Some people are like, I can't wait, when can I get into it? Some people are like, well, sometimes I have things scheduled, and you can talk around it and work with them. And sometimes, you know, like when I started, I couldn't make the first 2 locals in my area. I had pre-booked things for my job, which was paying my bills. And I just said, I can't make them. So my first event ended up being a leadership school, a world conference down in Miami, because I missed the first 2 locals. I'll tell you what, once I got there though, I never missed another local, because then I pre-booked everything out. I knew these are my Saturdays. I can't miss it. Then we go into things like converting spending into earning by visiting unfranchised.com and complete the spending and the shopping annuity assessment. Remember, we only have to do that once a year. I just want them to see all the things that are offered. Okay. Have them listen to 2 audios or watch 2 videos per week. I want to get in their head right away. I want them hearing the positive things, the right things immediately going on. And I might give them some suggestions of ones I'd like them to listen to. And, you know, I love anything that obviously has a JR on there. It's great to hear from our founder. And so it means so much more even today than it did then, but that's still the way I did it. To hear from Lauren, to hear from any of our teammates, to learn about products. Those are all great things to start them off with. Implement the Master Unfranchised Owner Program criteria. All I'm going to tell them with this is, look, you're new. This is going to make no sense. But what I want you to know is you're going to hear this term, Master Unfranchised Owner. As you're going through this, you're going to learn what that means. It basically is simple. It means creating BV and creating IBV between you and your customers. It means going to your trainings, which we've already scheduled. It means bringing on new business partners, which you're already going to put people in front of me. So you're basically going to be doing what we're talking about on this. And I'm just going to teach you how it's going to track for you. And I can show you that on your unfranchised.com. So I'm just getting in their head that this is important. Why am I getting that in their head? Because it is important. We have found that people who achieve Master Unfranchised Owner more income than people who don't. So if someone said to you, hey, if you do this, I'm going to pay you this. And if you don't do it, I'm going to pay you this. When you want to know what you have to do to get paid this, so I want to at least give them that input without overwhelming them. Okay, don't overwhelm them. It's a conversation. It's a conversation. Learn and practice the basic 5 fundamentals. So I'm going to get them in that training as well. And here's a big thing. I want them to develop customers. In the chat, tell me what's a great way I can help them develop customers right away. How could I do that? You guys help me tonight. How could I help someone develop customers? Give me a couple ideas. I know I've got some, and I'll share them with you. I want to see if you're with me. Are you focused? Are you involved? Trial size, Wayne, that's fantastic. Yes. Teach them how to use the app, right? So that they know how to send that out. You know, it's funny. So many people will register people. Can you believe this? The app Doesn't cost us anything, right? Do you know that over half the people that come in the business never download the app? You know what that tells me? That tells me that senior partners are not telling them to do it, are not showing them, are not doing that with them. So you guys obviously are not those people. What's another way we could do it? By using products flow, right? Show them some products. You know, here's another thing that cracks me up. People bring people in the business, and you know what they don't do? They don't go into unfranchise.com and show them how to place an order, how to create a receipt. Those are two things that should be done right away, because you want them to be able to order. You want them to be able to place receipts for customers when they do it. So yes, using your own products. Oh, Gabriella, yes, you are on where my head was going. Organize a home party. Get a few people together. Better in person by far. But if it can't be done in person, then do it on Zoom. But do something where you get some products in front of some people and you're talking to them. Gigi, Nutri-Physical, yes. Excellent to be able to do. Or the quizzes. Have you guys ever sent out from TLS Slim? You can send out the TLS quiz or a profile, or from our Lumiere DV site, our Motive site, we can send out our skincare quiz, which are excellent. Those are great. Okay, good. You guys are on it. You're already doing a lot of this. But here's what I want you to do. When you're working with that new person, you got to show them how to do a few of these things, right? You know what they do? They get excited. They're like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show them how to send a flyer out, show them how to send a video out. Yes, totally from the marketing app, right? Show them how to do some things with that so that they understand it. We want them to, why do we want 10 preferred customers? Because we want them, we want them feeling the success. We want them feeling that they're moving already. And you know, there's wins in the business. A win is when you get a retail customer. A win is when I remember the first time I had a customer order for a second time, I was like, yes, it works. And that's what this does. So you got to help them develop that. We talked about putting dates in. Now let's talk about result producing activities. Got to help them create a possibilities list. Now, some people will say, hey, you know what I want you to do? Put a list together of 100 people or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Great, that's great. You know what? Most people, they're not thinking of the right people. So maybe take 10 minutes with them. How many of you have ever seen me do my memory jogger thing? Where I'm saying, who do you know that's a nurse? Who do you know that's an entrepreneur? Who do you know that's this or that? If you've ever seen that, you can sit with the person right here. You can actually download. There's some great memory joggers that you can download online. You could have that with you to give to them, and then do 10 with them. Say, let's who do you know that's an entrepreneur that we could talk to about this? I always like to the people they think will at least look at it, because I want to get the plan in front of a few people with them. Why? Because I want them to see the plan a second, third, and fourth time, because I know the more they see it, the more interested they will become as well. Schedule a call workshop or a call text workshop with a senior partner. You know, how do I talk to somebody? What do I do? Well, let's do it right now. Let's contact a couple people. Say, I've started a new business. I'm wondering if you would evaluate it for me to see if you have some people that could help me. I've got a great partner that's going to do it with me. You'll love them. It's very low key. It's not even low pressure. It's no pressure. It's here's what we have, but we're introducing this to the area. And I think it's going to be something that people are going to be interested in. So I'm working with them on the verbiage. I'm working with them on what to say. We're doing that. We've scheduled this in, because here's what I know. If we schedule it, it gets done. If we don't, it doesn't. If we can do a little bit right away, we're going to get ahead. Then schedule some 2-on-1s and 1-on-1s. Let me ask you a question. In the chat, there's a number of you on with me tonight. There's about 56 people. Let me ask you a question in the chat on Zoom. I know there's more on Market America Live, Facebook. Put in the chat, how were you introduced to the business? Was it 1-on-1? Put 1-on-1. Was it 2-on-1? Put 2-on-1. Was it small group in the home? Put small group in the home. Or was it at a UBP? Put UBP. I would really like to see this. Well, this is interesting. The first two are 2-on-1, 2-on-1, 1-on-1, 2-on-1, 1-on-1. So the first 6, 7 that have come through, every person was introduced either 1-on-1 or 2-on-1, every single one. So all these people right now that are on with me today, nobody's saying I was in this huge UBP or I was in this huge meeting. So let me ask you a question. Based on what you're seeing, Do you think that means that one-on-ones and two-on-ones are really important? If you're looking at the chat like I am right now, your mind's starting to get blown away a little bit, right? BB, I'm glad to see that you were at an HBP, because that's another way people see this, is in the home. But right now you should be saying, wow, you know what we need to do? We need to book a bunch of two-on-ones. We need to book a bunch of, especially for the new person, two-on-ones, because you want the senior partner doing it, and you want the new person adding in and saying a little bit, but you really want them learning and writing notes and doing things like that. It's beautiful. Wow, this was great, guys. Thanks for putting that in there. What a powerful statement this just was. Schedule that product wellness event that I talked about. Get that scheduled, which we talked about. Schedule a home business presentation and let them know, hey, if we schedule this and we end up having 3 or 4 people, that's a home run. But to have 3 or 4, they got to have 7 or 8 that are saying yes, because we all know, and this is what I'm going to tell them, whatever number you have coming the day before, half will show up that day, because they'll call and they'll cancel and they'll do stuff. So, but it's okay to have a smaller number, because we're still leveraging our time if it's more than one. Teach them how to download Shop Buddy. Teach them how to develop an answer to what is it. We did a presentation last night. Jason Pell and I, boy, is he wonderful to work with, by the way. And, we talked a little bit about what is it. And I remembered back to, at one time I interviewed like 20 of the top leaders. And I said, what's your, what is it? And I put them all on PowerPoints to show people. The funny thing was they were all slightly different. And they all worked great, because they were top to 20 top earners in the history of the company. But what was the key? It wasn't what they said, it was how they said it, and they didn't say too much. So when I'm teaching somebody, I'm trying to get something they're going to be comfortable with, and that it's short. It's not some big, long thing that we're doing. Then we develop their why and their goal statement. Why do you want to do this? What's your driving reason for this? And that goal statement, and you can see personal goals, decide what you want, what are the things you desire, when do you want it? I always like to ask people, our first real big level, I think, in the business is executive coordinator. That means you've earned $1,500 in commissions. How soon would you like to get there? And then, because then I can take that and I can break it down. And then I can take it to the question 3, you see, which is determine what you're willing to give to the business in way of time and effort, because you can't get to it if you're not willing to do it. Am I right? And then we'll go into base 10, 7 strong, and what to do with that. Why do we need to develop 10 customers? What if they're doing 40 BV each, which I always use the example of daily essentials package, but you can use so many different things besides that that can get to 40 BV. And what if I'm using 100? That's 500 BV. In the chat, and some of you may be brand new, I'm cool with that, but let's do this. How many of you put in there what you think you average in BV customer sales in a month? If you think you move 100, put 100 in. If you think you move 200 BV, if you think you move 300 or 400 or 700 or 1,000, put that in. But what you think you average in BV sales per month. And by the way, no wrong answer and no judgment. Look at this first person, 1,500. She couldn't wait. Marianne, you could not wait to get that in there, because that is awesome. I would put it in right away to 1,500 a month. That is great. Holy cow, I love it. Everybody else is now intimidated. Don't be intimidated. How much do you think you move? You can guess. Put some more in for me. I want to see someone else. 550. Excellent, Evelyn. That is great. Okay. 300, Tammy. Fantastic. Great to see you, Tammy, as well. 1,000, 550. We're seeing again. Now, someone might be saying, well, I'm embarrassed to put in. I maybe move 100 BV a month. Hey, do not be embarrassed. That is great if you do 100 BV a month. But the goal is, how do we expand that, right? How do we get a few more customers? And that's what we work on through our marketing app, through the wellness events, through generating more and more customers, because that BV is going to add up to everything. All right, put in the chat for me, do this. How much you think you use in a month in BV? And it's an estimate. So let's look at what we use in a month in BV and put that. I mean, I'll tell you, for Lisa and I God, just 2 of us, I think we use well in excess of 700 BV. I should maybe 600 BV a month. It's a lot, is what I'm going to say. I mean, we wake up, we right away I'm having my Market America coffee. In my coffee is my collagen and my mocha tonics. You know, it's just, and then and before that, I've taken my 20-ounce drink of isotonics along with the pills I take. So it's a lot. But look at these numbers: 200, 300, 500, 200, 300, 400. So when you start adding up retail and use, you're seeing huge numbers going in here. So what I'm trying to show you is we just got to show them why that's important, because when we look on our base 10-7 strong here, you can start to explain to them how that develops, and how if you have 3 people, and it may not be, you know, it may not be the first 3 people, but we're going to coach that way, that we're going to try to get that way. When you have 3 people in any combination getting to 500, actually if they're getting to 400 BV, that's a check a month coming in if it's a reorderable product being ordered every month, because 400, 400, and 400 is 1,200. Okay, so now you start to see, so if I'm watching this, what are my goals? My goals are whatever number I put in there, I want to increase my usage. Okay, now there's a cost to doing that, so I understand it. So I always look at everything. If I want to use more, I need to what? Someone put it in there. What word do I need to say next? If I want to use more, I need to, what word is it going to be? Put it in there. You don't know it. Come on, take a guess. Yes, Flo. You got it. I need to retail more, because then I'm retailing more. I have more money to be able to use more as well. So they go together. So sell more. That's right, Gigi. So because I always wanted to use a lot of products, but I was like, I don't want to feel like I'm just paying for everything. Although I had to change my mindset, because I also had to realize I wasn't buying things at the store that I used to buy at the store. So that money that was going there was not going there anymore. It was going to my business. But the retail allowed me to do even more. I'm a big retailer, and I love teaching retailing because it's important to do, and it's important to teach. So you can go through with all this and you teach that. Now that's the first section. If we do that, how many of you think if you spent the amount of time I did, which was 24 minutes and a little bit longer, because we talk to them and we go through things. But if you spent an hour with a new person as you do the registration, when you're done doing this, how many of you put a 1 in if you think they'd have a better chance of succeeding in this business? If they had the app downloaded, if you'd shown them how to order, if you'd shown them how to create a receipt, is there anybody who thinks no, they would do worse? There's nobody, right? So we know that. So the answer is, we take the effort to do it. A little bit of upfront effort can mean a lifetime of reward. And that's what people don't always understand right away. The time I put into somebody now may seem like a lot, but 10 years from now, when they're using and retailing and adding business partners, and I'm not having to put in a huge amount of effort into that person, wow, was it worth it? How much was that time worth? When you're done with that, schedule a follow-up appointment. Don't try to do this all at once. Now you schedule a follow-up a couple weeks later, come back with them. Hopefully they've been to one of the trainings. If it's an in-person training, if they're going to an NUOT, guess who's going with them? You are. If it's me, I am. Why? Because I want to show them, I want to duplicate the process of them getting trained the exact same way. On your getting started guide, you have where you can list out names. Take a few minutes with that possibility list. Do it with them. Show them the organizational chart. Put their name in there and tell them we're going to be adding your people as they come in. Put your name above them, whether you're on the left or the right hand side of that. You guys are watching me. I'm pointing with a finger. Let me do it this way. Just proves you don't have to be brilliant. If you brought them in on your 003 right, put your name up here. Here's Jim. You know, this is my 00, because people always want to know, where are they in your business? This is my 003, because everybody's going to come in on the 02 left or the 03 right. Let them know where they are and then how we're going to fill this out as we do it. Here again, I'm just showing them, this is in here, but I'm going to show them where it is online. And that's it, guys. We're up and running. We've got them going to trainings. We've got things booked in the homes. We've got 2-on-1s. We've got 1-on-1s. So that's everything. I'm going to take 2 minutes because I've ran over the time I expected to, because I started late. You guys were great for waiting for me. Do you have any questions that pop up right away? If you do, I'll answer some on there for you. Okay. Let me stop sharing here because we don't need to share anymore. If any question, if not, you guys were wonderful. It was great to be with you this evening. I appreciate you taking some time. I know I saw some of you who were with me during the unfranchised business presentation as well. I hope this was helpful tonight and you can take it and use it to support your new teammates. You know, we got a lot of fun coming up. Don't forget, I'm going to give you a little extra here. So here's bonus. Don't leave. Here's your bonus. Okay. So as you guys know, starting November 1st, we're going to be able to introduce new business partners. And when we introduce them, as long as they come in qualified and as long as they're set up on auto ship, we're going to have the ability to place volume into them. Does everybody know that? Did you hear that? For 90 days, we're going to be able to do that. Okay. Which is, again, why is that important? Well, we have to retail a lot to have some extra volume, right? So we want to have extra volume. So that was a big announcement last Thursday that starting November 1st, you bring somebody new on, you have the ability to personally sponsor them. They come in qualified. This is a key. They qualify and they're on auto ship. You have the ability to place volume into them. Now, let's think about that. Let's say I sponsor Daniel into the business. He comes in qualified. He's on auto ship, but I start putting a bunch of volume into him. But he's never retailed and never done a Form 1000. If he doesn't do that, I could lose that volume. So here's how I'm going to leverage this. This is your tip for today on our getting started right. I'm going to say to Daniel, I'm so excited. I have the ability to put volume into your business and support you with this. But what I need you to do is we need to generate customers first, because I want to know that you're going to meet your retail requirement right away. So let's book something to meet with people about products and see how fast we can get your $200 in retail sales done. Because once we do that, then I'm going to be able to put volume into it. Until then, I'm going to wait until you do 200 before I put it in. Why am I going to do that? Because then there's no chance I can ever lose that volume. It is going to be so good. Guys, you're going to be so fired up doing this because you guys are the ones who are retailing. You're talking to people. It's going to make a big difference to our new people as well. Thanks again. Have a great night. Appreciate y'all and see you soon. Okay. Take care.